It's 2 a.m. Your laptop screen is the only light in the room. You are staring at a number on a spreadsheet that refuses to change no matter how many times you refresh it. Your hands are shaking, not from fear exactly, more like exhaustion wearing the mask of fear. Somewhere in another room, your phone is buzzing with a message you already know you don't want to read. And a single thought, quiet but heavy, settles into your chest. Maybe I should just stop. Maybe this was never supposed to work. If you have ever sat in that exact silence, staring at a business you built with your own hands, wondering if tonight is the night you finally admit defeat, then you already know why entrepreneur motivation Stoicism quit is one of the most searched phrases by founders at 2 a.m. Because this moment is not rare. It is the room almost every founder eventually sits in. Nearly 2,000 years ago, a man sat in a very different kind of room. No investors breathing down his neck, no cash flow spreadsheet, no notifications. But he carried a weight most modern founders can barely imagine. He ruled an empire that stretched across 3 continents while plagues killed his people, wars drained his treasury, and men he trusted stabbed him in the back, sometimes literally. His name was Marcus Aurelius, and he never once considered himself strong by nature. He considered himself a man who chose, every single day, not to quit. He wrote his private thoughts down, never intending the world to read them. No audience, no image to protect, just a man at war with his own exhaustion, talking himself back into the fight, one sentence at a time. And buried inside those pages is something every founder standing at the edge tonight needs to hear. You were not made for comfort. You were made for this. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you will understand exactly what Marcus Aurelius would say if he sat across from you right now, in your failing business, in your doubt, in your 2 a.m. silence. Not soft comfort. Not empty hustle slogans. Something older, harder, and far more useful. Here is the part nobody tells you when you start a business. The pain you are feeling right now is not proof that you are failing. It is proof that you are exactly where every person who ever built something worth building has stood before you. Marcus Aurelius faced something he called the obstacle. Not obstacles, plural, scattered here and there. The obstacle, singular, constant, unavoidable, built into the very structure of being alive and trying to build something that matters. He wrote that the impediment to action advances action, that what stands in the way becomes the way. Read that again. He was not saying difficulty is fine. He was saying difficulty is the material. It is not blocking your path. It is the path. Think about the version of you that started this business. Remember that person. They had a plan, a fire, a belief that this idea deserved to exist in the world. That person did not disappear. They are still in you right now, buried under 14-hour days and unanswered emails and a bank account that keeps whispering doubts into your ear. The Stoics had a brutal but honest way of separating what actually belongs to you from what never did. Your revenue this quarter, that is not fully in your control. The market, the algorithm, the economy, other people's decisions, none of that belongs to you. But how you show up tomorrow morning, whether you open your laptop one more time, whether you make the call you have been avoiding, whether you treat this setback as data instead of a verdict on your worth, that belongs entirely to you. Nobody can take it. Not a bad month, not a lost client, not a co-founder who walked away. This is where most people get it wrong. They think quitting is a single dramatic decision, a moment where you stand up and announce it's over. It rarely happens that way. Quitting is usually quiet. It is checking your phone, instead of finishing the task. It is telling yourself you'll try harder next week instead of tonight. It is 1,000 small surrenders that add up to one big collapse, and by the time you notice, you've already been quitting for months. Marcus Aurelius understood this danger better than almost anyone in history. He wrote to himself constantly, not because he had it figured out, but because he knew that without daily discipline, even an emperor could rot from the inside. If a man who commanded legions needed to remind himself every single morning to stay in the fight, what makes you think you are supposed to feel unstoppable all the time? You are not broken because this is hard. You are human because this is hard, and you are a founder because you keep going anyway. There is a specific kind of exhaustion that only entrepreneurs understand. It is not the tiredness of a long day. It is the tiredness of carrying something that depends entirely on you, where there is no manager to escalate to, no shift that ends, no guarantee that tomorrow will be any easier than today. And in that exhaustion, the mind starts negotiating. Maybe a normal job would be simpler. Maybe this dream was naive. Maybe everyone was right to doubt you. Marcus Aurelius met that same voice inside his own head, and he refused to let it write the ending of his story. What he built instead was a mindset, a way of meeting hardship without flinching. And in the next part, we go deeper into exactly how he trained himself to keep moving when everything in him wanted to stop. Because the real question was never whether the obstacle would come, it was always whether you would still be standing when it did. Let's go back to that room for a second. The one with the spreadsheet, the phone buzzing on the other table, the silence pressing down on your shoulders like a physical weight. Because there is a detail about that moment most people never notice. You are still sitting there. You did not close the laptop. You did not delete the business. You did not send the message announcing you're done. Something in you, even in the middle of the worst night, kept you in that chair. That is not weakness talking. That is the exact same instinct Marcus Aurelius trained his entire life. The refusal to let a single dark hour decide the fate of a much longer story. He had a practice for nights like this, and it is brutally simple once you understand it. Every morning, before the demands of the empire came crashing in, he reminded himself of what the day would likely contain. Difficult people, setbacks, frustration, betrayal even. He did not do this to feel pessimistic. He did this so that when hardship arrived, it never caught him off guard. The Stoics called it premeditating adversity, and for a founder, it might be the single most underused tool in the entire game. Think about how differently you would move through your week if you stopped expecting ease. Not because you're pessimistic, but because you're prepared. The client who ghosts you, the payment that bounces, the ad campaign that flops after you poured your last bit of budget into it. None of that means you're failing. It means you're running a business in a world that was never obligated to make this easy for you. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth and still buried friends, fought wars he didn't choose, and governed through a plague that killed millions. He did not get an easier life because he was disciplined. He got a stronger mind to meet the life he actually had. This is the shift almost every burned-out founder needs, and almost never makes. You keep waiting for the hard part to end so the real work can begin. But the hard part is the real work. There is no arrival point where business finally becomes easy and stays that way. There is only you becoming someone capable of carrying more than you used to carry. Here's something that might surprise you. Marcus Aurelius never once wrote that he felt ready. Not for the throne, not for war, not for the loss of his own children, several of whom died before he did. He wrote instead about duty, about function, about doing the next right action regardless of how unready he felt. He compared himself at one point to parts of a body, saying that a hand or a foot does not ask whether it feels like doing its job today. It simply does what it exists to do, because that is its nature. You already know what your business exists to do. You already know why you started it, even if the reason feels buried under 12 months of grinding and doubting and wondering if anyone will ever notice the work you've put in. That reason has not disappeared. It is still there, waiting for you to stop asking whether you feel ready and start asking what needs to happen next. There is a moment in almost every founder's journey that feels like the entire thing hinges on a single decision. A single client saying yes or no, a single investor meeting, a single launch. It feels like the whole business will live or die based on that one moment, and the pressure becomes almost unbearable. Marcus Aurelius had a phrase for this trap too. He warned himself against the tyranny of imagined outcomes, the suffering we create by living inside a future that has not happened yet and might never happen at all. Seneca, another Stoic who understood pressure intimately, once pointed out that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Read your inbox again. Look at your actual numbers, not the catastrophic story your mind built around them at 2 am. Most of what feels unbearable right now is not the situation itself. It is the exhausted, sleep-deprived, cortisol-flooded story you are telling yourself about the situation. Separate the two. The facts are rarely as loud as the fear. This is exactly why the search for entrepreneur motivation Stoicism quits spikes at night, in the dark, when the mind has no distractions left to hide behind. Daylight brings tasks, meetings, forward motion. Night brings silence, and silence is where doubt gets loud. But silence is also where discipline gets built, because anyone can push forward when the sun is up and the momentum is easy. The real founders are made in the version of tonight where nobody is watching, and quitting would be so easy nobody would even blame you for it. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that should be carved into the wall of every founder's office. He said that at every hour, hold firmly to the thought that it is possible to withdraw yourself from this or that circumstance, and that fits perfectly here. Because you always have the right to walk away. Nobody is holding a gun to your head. Quitting is always available, but so is this. Tomorrow morning, you get to choose again. And the fact that you get to choose, that this decision has not been made for you by circumstance, that is not a burden. That is the entire point. You are not trapped in this business. You are still choosing it every single day you open that laptop instead of closing it for good. And there is a difference between a founder who stays because they haven't found the courage to leave, and a founder who stays because leaving was never who they decided to become. In the final part, we go straight to the heart of what separates the founders who quietly disappear from the ones whose names end up etched into history, and exactly what Marcus Aurelius would say to you if he were standing in your office tonight, watching you decide. Picture him walking into your office right now, not as a statue, not as a quote on a poster, but as a real man, tired eyes, calloused hands from years on campaign, standing in the doorway, looking at you the way a father looks at a son who has forgotten his own strength. He would not comfort you. That was never his way. He would sit across from you, look directly at the exhaustion on your face, and ask you one question that would cut straight through every excuse you've been feeding yourself for weeks. What did you expect? That building something meaningful would not cost you anything? He ruled during a war that lasted almost his entire reign. He buried children. He watched a plague sweep through his empire and take people he loved without asking permission. And through every single one of those nights, he never once wrote in his journal that life owed him ease. He wrote instead that obstacles were the terrain he was given, and his only job was to meet that terrain with everything he had left, even when everything he had left felt like nothing at all. That is what he would tell you. Not that it gets easier. Not that success is coming next Tuesday if you just hang on a little longer. He would tell you the truth. The one truth almost nobody wants to hear in a culture obsessed with comfort and quick wins. This is what building something real actually costs. It costs your comfort. It costs your certainty. Some nights it costs your sleep and your confidence and your ability to answer the question everyone keeps asking you, the one about how the business is going, without your voice cracking just slightly. And he would tell you that none of that means you're on the wrong path. It means you're on the only path that was ever going to lead anywhere worth arriving at. Here is something most people never think about when they imagine ancient Rome. Marcus Aurelius was not born into greatness the way people assume. He was groomed for the throne from a young age precisely because those around him noticed something rare, not brilliance, not charisma, but an almost stubborn willingness to keep showing up to hard things without complaint. That is the entire foundation of Stoicism, and it is the entire foundation of every business that has ever survived its first brutal years. Not talent, not luck, just the willingness to keep showing up when showing up stopped being fun a long time ago. You started this business because you saw something the world hadn't built yet. Somewhere between the invoices and the sleepless nights and the moments where you genuinely wondered if you were the problem, that vision got buried under the weight of just trying to survive the week. But it did not die. Visions do not die from difficulty. They die from abandonment. And you have not abandoned it yet, or you would not still be listening to this right now. This is the exact moment where entrepreneur motivation Stoicism stops being a search term and starts being a decision. Not a decision you make once and never revisit. A decision you make again tomorrow morning, and the morning after that, and every single morning your business asks something of you that you're not sure you have left to give. Marcus Aurelius knew something that modern founders desperately need to relearn. Discipline is not motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. They show up when they want and disappear exactly when you need them most. Discipline is a decision that does not ask your feelings for permission. You do not need to feel ready to open your laptop tomorrow morning. You do not need to feel confident to make the call you've been avoiding. You simply decide, the way he decided, day after day, year after year. Through wars and plagues and grief that would have broken most men, that quitting was simply not an option his character allowed for. That is the real difference between the founders who make it through this exact night and the ones who don't. It has nothing to do with talent, funding, or luck. It comes down to whether you decide, right now, tonight, that you are the kind of person who keeps their word to themselves even when nobody else is watching. Especially when nobody else is watching. So here is what Marcus Aurelius would leave you with. If he stood up right now and walked out of your office the same way he walked in, quiet, unshaken, certain, you were not promised an easy path. You were promised the chance to build something that matters, and that chance comes wrapped in exactly the kind of resistance you're feeling right now. The obstacle is not blocking your business. The obstacle is building it, one hard night at a time, one decision to stay at a time. Close the laptop if you need sleep, but do not close the business. Not tonight. Not because of one bad month, one hard client, one moment of doubt that felt bigger than it actually was in the cold light of morning. You already have everything he had. A mind that can be trained, a will that can be strengthened, a choice that renews itself every single time you wake up and decide, once again, that today is not the day you quit. If this hit something in you tonight, if some part of this felt like it was written directly for the exact chair you're sitting in right now, do us a favor and hit that like button before you close this tab. Drop a comment and let us know which line stayed with you the most. Share this with a founder you know is having one of those nights. And if you want more of this, more ancient wisdom built for the modern grind, subscribe to Stoic Founder, because this is exactly the kind of channel built to remind you, again and again, that you were built for this.